Hello there guys, what is going on? Son of Chelsea back here again for another edition of Added Time. Hope you're all doing well, keeping safe. Have got an interesting transfer story to discuss today, and we'll be answering some of your guys' questions at the end of the video. I just want to ask you guys to hit that subscribe button and a notification bell if you haven't already. Had incredible support, as I talked about yesterday, on the channel recently. So we're growing, we're getting better. Daily content about Chelsea FC. So hit that subscribe button and a notification bell so you never miss an upload. But let's get into it with Chelsea's fullback search, because it's continuing. We've spoken a lot about, primarily of course, talking about left back, trying to strengthen in that area. So we've talked about Ben Chilwell, Alex Telles, my preference, Alex Gramado. But one more name has been brought up, and it is Real Madrid's Achraf Hakimi. He's currently on loan at Borussia Dortmund. This is from the Mirror. Chelsea approach Real Madrid over Achraf Hakimi transfer as fullback search continues. Hakimi has spent the season on loan at Borussia Dortmund, but Chelsea are now eyeing a transfer move for the versatile young Real Madrid fullback. The 21-year-old has spent the season on loan at Dortmund and has been one of the standout stars in the Bundesliga, but the loan deal between the two clubs does not contain an option to purchase at the end of the campaign, and that has prompted a number of clubs to register an interest. Chelsea are one of them. They were told by Real they will not make any decisions until the season finally reaches its conclusion. Hakimi is a name, and I saw it in the comments of my video yesterday about this link, and it's an interesting one because out of all the names that have been linked to Chelsea at left back, Hakimi is really different in the sense that there's that versatility and that option for him, of course, to play at right back and to play potentially more forward in the pitch, and that makes him a really intriguing prospect, and one that, making a comparison to another Chelsea player who is very versatile, Azpilicueta. You know, Azpilicueta, think of all he's done for Chelsea over the years and how useful of a player he has been for Chelsea, because originally he came as a right back, that is his main position, but he spent a lot of his career at Chelsea not playing at right back. Under Jose Mourinho, he played at left back, and of course under Conte, probably one of his best years at Chelsea was at centre back in a back three as well. When you look at Reece James has that as well. He can play potentially in central midfield, which could be the future of his career. Could also potentially play on the left as well as right back, which I think will be, of course, his primary position moving forward for Chelsea. And with Hakimi, he's attack-minded. I think that's one of the things I love about him. We do need an attack-minded left back on that side to definitely help strengthen that area going forward, make it a really dangerous position for teams to deal with. Some of the strengths of his game is positional play and awareness, which are two things that you can criticise of Emerson and Marcos Alonso. You look at elements of their game when they've struggled. Those are two things right there. He's also got a pass rate success of 80%, which really helps him link up play with his fellow players at Dortmund and really helps out the attack. You look, with all the speed and attacking strength they have, Hakimi is usually involved. You look at the assists he's had, you look at the creative play of him. He's really impressive on both sides. He really is, and that makes him such an intriguing prospect to sign. And as well, his speed. I think his speed is the one thing that puts him ahead of maybe the likes of Chilwell, because I mean, 36.2 kilometers in one game this season for Borussia Dortmund. And it's interesting, of course, because he links up well with Jadon Sancho, assisted Sancho in that one game, and one particular goal where he literally ran the length of the pitch and then cut it back to Sancho to put in the goal. And that speed on the left is something we desperately need. It's something we've lacked. None of the players are able to do that currently at left back. Even Emerson, I'd say. If you can match the speed and productivity that Reece James has on that right, especially you think of Christian Pulisic starting on that left wing. You know, potentially you could have a situation next year where you could have Hakimi at left back, Reece James at right back, and then the two wingers could be Christian Pulisic and Callum Hudson-ODOI, or another winger we bring in. And it's just quick and athletic. Those are the words that Frank Lampard uses, and he wants his players to move fast. He wants quick players in his team, and Hakimi fits that bill perfectly. The productivity in his game as well, I think, is something that would make him definitely put him top of that list. How this deal would work in terms of Chilwell, I get the sense, and people have asked me this, I get the sense Chilwell is a name we're going to hear more often than not. I've heard it when he listened to Matt Law speak about targets Chelsea are interested in, or Liam Toomey. Chilwell is a name that gets brought up. There have been other names, but I just get the sense he's going to be probably top of Chelsea's transfer list in truth. But Hakimi, I think, is one of those players that in a squad is really important to have. Not only because of his career, he's probably still finding his best position, and his best position, as he's only 21 years old, can become clearer in his career. You know, he could very much become a left back, or he could become a right back. But as I explained earlier, when you have a player like Azpilicueta that can do that for you and has that versatility to play across a defence, it really becomes important in situations. And as you've seen, he's become such a vital component of Chelsea. And you look at the experience, you look at the willingness of him, you know, the reliability of Azpilicueta over a number of years has become amazing. And maybe, you know, Azpilicueta being compared to Hakimi would feel like a strange comparison because they are different players, of course, and Hakimi very much is a modern fullback, absolutely. But I'm just talking about the sense of in a squad, what you're looking for, the attributes of those players. Lampard could look at Hakimi and think to himself, in comparison to Chilwell, who's very much, of course, going to be a left back, Hakimi could be a better option. Of course, with that loan move not having the potential to become a permanent deal, Chelsea could pounce on that and potentially get Hakimi for a lower fee than they would have to pay for Chilwell, and you could be getting a better player there. I'm interested to hear your thoughts because he is a player that I've heard a lot about. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Would you like to see Chelsea going for Hakimi seriously in the summer? Now I'm going to move on to your questions. Thank you so much for the questions you did submit yesterday. So let's get into it. Firstly, Baggy TV, how do you see the season concluding? Will it be voided? I spoke about this in a video the other day where I really went in depth and why I believe the season should be completed. But really, it's out of our control, isn't it? That's just me guessing and giving my personal preference at the moment. I saw an article from Miguel Delaney in The Independent and talking about isolated sort of training camps for players, and we're going to finish the season almost in like a World Cup fashion in the summer, which to a lot of fans sounds very crazy. But given the current situation, considering this could be as long as October, the clubs want to get it done because of the financial implications and the knockback effect that this can have. It's all a guessing game at the moment. It really is. My preference is I think you do need to finish the season, and if this may be the only way to do it, it sounds like a crazy idea at the moment, but considering the way everything's going, how quickly it's changing, the delays going further and further, the effect it can have for future years, not only on the Premier League, but European and worldwide football, this may be the only option. So really my best answer is, mate, I don't know. But I think that I think it very much depends on how long this goes on for. I think if we get past July, personally, I think based on what I've been reading, the season could be voided. But at the moment, preference definitely is to finish it in some capacity. Toffee Toff asks, hey son of Chelsea, congrats on the 5k subscriber milestone. Maybe make it a goal of yours to reach 10k by the end of the year. My question I wanted to ask is, what has been your favourite memory growing up as a Chelsea supporter? Cheers. Thank you for those kind words there. Definitely 10k is a massive goal. If we could reach it by the end of the year, that would be incredible for sure. What has been my favourite memory? I don't just want to talk about Munich because that would be a very easy answer to give. And my first memory as a Chelsea fan, my first experience going to Stamford Bridge, I'd probably want to leave that for a video later on in my channel that I could go into. Instead, I'm going to talk about us winning the league title in 05. I love that team. I really did. That Umbro kit with the Fly Emirates, that season where I really fell in love with football and got obsessed with it at the age of 7, going down to the bridge, watching that team under Jose Mourinho, which is still my favourite Chelsea team, really, and the dominance of that team, winning the Premier League title. I remember the day we beat Charlton to, of course, we'd already won the league, but we lifted the Premier League title. Makelele scoring that penalty late on. He missed the penalty and then rebounded it in. Crazy scenes, and it was that season where I'd already sort of fallen in love with football, but that was a season where I really got obsessed with it and realised it was going to become, in Chelsea, were going to become a big part of my life, and all of the players falling in love with them. And you just go back and watch that team, and I was writing articles recently about it, and how good that team was. That was a team, that was a fantasy team, but at the time you don't really think of it like that. But now looking back, and maybe some of the problems and issues we have in the current team, and people complain about it not being as good, incredible talent in that team, really it was, and it was really we weren't at the peak, but we were getting to the peak, and that team in 04-05 was dominant. So I'm going to say lifting the Premier League title, watching that team, some of my favourite memories and favourite days supporting Chelsea growing up, definitely for sure. El Chelsea asks, who do you think has the most potential in the Chelsea squad to not just become a great player, but to stay for a long time? Second, what tips can you give to someone making Chelsea content? Thank you for reading, keep at it. Thank you for the kind comments once again. Firstly, who do I think can... There's loads of young players within the squad that could stay for a long time. You know, you go from, back to front. You look at Reece James potentially. Can be Chelsea's fullback, right back for the next maybe 10 years if he's that good, of course. You could look at, of course, Fikayo Tomori as well. Looking in the midfield, Billy Gilmore, Ruben Loftus-Cheek. I'm going to say Ruben Loftus-Cheek because I still feel, to me, he hasn't played a minute of football this season. But I look at him and I say I see a player there that can be potentially one of Chelsea's best midfielders, and the form he was coming into at the back end of last season, I think, and also I think he's the most ready to become that player, because there's still young players in Mason Mount, Tammy Abraham, all those players I've mentioned before. Billy Gilmore's still very young. Ruben's very much, if you look at his age, he's come into the prime of his career, and if he can avoid injuries, long-term injuries, I think he can be a special player for Chelsea, absolutely. But all those players I mentioned absolutely have capability. And just quickly on Chelsea content, it's about being consistent. It's about making stuff that you're truly passionate about, you know, especially at the start, you know, thinking about what videos do you love watching, not in terms of like football. Look at other things. What do you like, you know, film, TV, you know, other stuff you watch on YouTube, and trying to take inspiration from that and then putting it into maybe a Chelsea form. That's something that's helped me definitely. And yeah, definitely just working on improving each video. Don't necessarily think about the views and subscribers, because that's something we all get obsessed with, of course. But think about, look at your first video and look at your most recent video, and then you can really see how much you've improved, and try and be self-critical and be better than you were the last time, basically. And just keep at it. It's a hobby. Try and enjoy it as much as you can. Don't put too much stress on yourself. Of course, we all want these things to be brilliant, but just keep on at it, keep on working, and the success and the support will come eventually. So that is it for this episode of Added Time. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch this video. If you did enjoy, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell to never miss an upload. Follow me on Twitter @SonOfChelsea, and I'll see you again.